This is the United States of America, or at least it used to be. This student is about to be taken by masked officers. No trial, no warning, just disappeared. What was her crime? Writing an op-ed. You heard that right. Her visa was revoked, and now she faces possible extradition for having an opinion. You've been told America's the land of free speech, that Trump is fighting authoritarianism? But if that's true, how do you explain this? The case of Ozturk, the student you just saw, isn't an isolated one. Her arrest is part of a much bigger problem. In the past few weeks alone, legal immigrants in the US have had their visas revoked and been thrown into detention centers, disappearing from the country because of their political beliefs. No trial, no lawyers, no appeals, just gone. You might think this could never happen to you. You might think this only happens in places like China, Russia, Iran. But you'd be wrong, because it's happening in America. The only question left is, who's next? Before we dive into the meat and bones of this topic, I'd like to say a special thank you to our sponsors of today's video, Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Without their support, this video wouldn't be possible. In fact, this channel wouldn't even exist. So, shout out to you guys, I guess. Alright, let's get back into the story. The footage you just saw was of Rumeysa Ozturk, a PhD student at Tufts University, Massachusetts, abducted by plainclothes officers who masked their faces, whisked away, no charges, no explanations, just gone, disappeared into the system. She didn't break any laws. She only exercised her First Amendment right, free speech, and yet her legal status has been terminated, her visa, student visa revoked, and she has been taken across county lines by ICE to a facility in Louisiana. Unfortunately, Ozturk's case isn't unique. Just in the last few weeks, there's been countless cases and stories breaking along the same lines, with perhaps the most high-profile one being of Mahmoud Khalil, a green card holder. Yeah, that's right. Legal residency in the US, was also abducted by, masked or plainclothed ICE officers, taken across county lines to a detention center where his family weren't able to see him. His wife's pregnant, heavily pregnant, all because he's a supporter of the pro-Palestinian movement, and this administration conflates pro-Palestinian support with anti-Israel and pro-Hamas. Do we even need to go there? Ozturk and Khalil were arrested or abducted near their homes, close by to their university campuses. Both were immediately transferred across county lines. I wonder why. And both were accused of vague ties to terrorism, without any supporting evidence provided. This isn't law enforcement, this is just political persecution and suppression. So what's the official justification for these arrests? The Trump administration claims both Khalil and Ozturk were engaged in activities supporting Hamas or pro-terrorism. Sounds serious, right? Except there's no evidence, just vague claims, blanket accusations designed to discredit anyone who supports the Palestinian cause. Now, being pro-Palestinian does not mean supporting Hamas, but under Trump's administration, the two are being held as one and the same. So Ozturk's op-ed to her university, asking them to consider the request of, I believe it's the Student Council Senate, who voted in a majority to change the university's stance towards Israel, divest from certain companies aligned with Israel, etc., etc. Mahmoud Khalil has been a central figure in the Columbia University protests. From my understanding, a key organizer, but nothing more. you know. Now, my claim that the Trump administration are holding Palestinian support and pro-terrorism, Hamas, as one and the same, are proven by Secretary of State Marco Rubio's own comments.
To be abundantly clear, okay? If you go apply for a visa right now, anywhere in the world, let me just send this message out. If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa.
So let's break that down. In that specific response, Rubio was taking a question about Ozturk's case specifically. He referenced violence, harassment of students, taking over buildings, and yet there was no evidence of that, just activism in the form of writing an op-ed. No formal charges, just accusations, and no fair trial, just immediate visa revocation and detention. In fact, just in the last 24 hours, I come across a story which mentioned some students in the US, legal students, on student visas, had received email notifications to voluntarily deport themselves. That their student visas had been revoked and that they should voluntarily deport themselves. And if they do not do so, it would be seen as a form of, breaking the law, illegal immigration, etc., etc. This is no mistake. This is no accident. If you think it's just these couple of high-profile cases, you'd be wrong. A leaked State Department order reveals that the US government is actively monitoring the political activity of all legal migrants. All legal migrants. What are they looking for? They're looking for a reason to send these people out of the country. Illegal immigration, that's not enough. Get rid of them all. That's what I say. That's a joke. I'm just cosplaying British right-wing people and the MAGAs.
Got him! Got him!
The key thing to note in this order is that they're looking for conduct that bears a hostile attitude to the US government, institutions, or founding principles. Now, let's be real, yeah? What does that even mean, okay? If you criticize the Supreme Court, does that fall within that description? If you protest against police brutality, does that fall against, that criteria? If you write an op-ed criticizing your own university's policy towards a war in the Middle East, seems like that counts now. Does that make you an enemy of the state? The order essentially says, if you're an immigrant and you publicly disagree with what Trump and his administration are going with, we will kick you out. You are at risk of being kicked out, and we will do so. We will blanket label you a threat to our civil liberties, a threat to our values, all rubbish, and then kick you out. This is authoritarianism in plain sight. This is what it is. And it proves that Khalil and Ozturk aren't outliers. They're the test subjects for something much, much bigger. But the hypocrisy reaches even more cartoonish levels. If we cast our minds back to February when JD Vance, the great mind and thinker that he is, went to the Munich Security Conference and told all European allies that, they're at risk of killing free speech or losing free speech unless they do something about it. And he repeated that sentiment when Keir Starmer visited the White House a few weeks later, challenging him directly, again taking a question from a journalist who kind of followed up on the free speech line he had for Europe, and doubled down saying, the UK has been a good friend of ours, but they've got some problems with free speech. To which he was shut down, obviously, by Keir Starmer. Now, imagine these guys, they're the ones running around talking about free speech and how Europe's losing it, and that's why America's so great, because we love our free speech and, we protect it at all costs. And yet, they go around revoking visas for students who have expressed a difference in opinion. So to recap this point, in the US, students are being arrested for expressing a difference in political opinion to the current administration. They're being arrested and sent across county lines by masked police officers. God. Legal migrants are monitored for their political views online. Not illegal, legal. Activism is being equated with terrorism. And JD Vance is out here warning Europe about thought crime. This isn't just hypocrisy, it's projection. The very tactics he accuses Europe, the UK, others of using are being deployed in his own country by his own political movement. He is the vice president, for God's sake. This should matter to everyone because it sets a dangerous precedent. It should matter because really it doesn't matter that it's Palestine or Israel. It could be any political movement. Today it's Khalil and Ozturk. Tomorrow could be you. I mean, they're starting with legal migrants. People coming legally to the US to study, to get an education, something they're paying for, by the way. All right? They're paying for it. And they're being arrested because they can't think something different. What's next? It's the people that are American citizens, born and bred. What happens when they start saying things completely, to the dismay of the current administration? What are they going to do? They're going to find similar reasons to throw them away. If supporting Palestine in this case leads to deportation, what does that say about what you can say? What can you say if you can't criticize US foreign policy? What can you say? How can you say it? How can you say it? And what? It's just such a slippery slope. It really is. It's very 1984 coded. Like, just think about it. Why won't they come for you? Why won't they come for you? If the government gets to decide which political opinions are right, how long until you think of an opinion that gets you in trouble? How long until you're on the wrong side of it? This is about a lot more than just two students. This is about whether free speech is alive and well in the United States of America. And spoiler alert, it's not. Wow. If it doesn't apply to a certain group of people who have come legally, it's dead, or it will be dead for all. It's inevitable. It's not free speech for me, but not for thee. It's not that, but that's what it is. With over 1,300 days left in Trump's presidency, he's just getting started. Where's the line between national security and political persecution? What is it and where is it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, if you have any. I'd love to hear them. And is free speech already lost? Yeah, let me know that one too. If you think these are issues worth highlighting, exposing, talking about, please share this video, drop a comment, and unless you're a Russian bot, like and subscribe for more.